Balake, where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everyone, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. OMG, you guys. Danny Masterson's attorneys and the investigators, they all done messed up. Let me make sure I'm on Do Not Disturb. Okay, good. We got that. By the way, for anyone tuning in right now, stay until the very end. I'm going to do a free giveaway on a Ridge iPhone 15 Pro Max case. Really just because I've got so much Ridge product and might as well start giving it away. Guys. Okay, we have learned this week that we got some breaking news, but just to frame it, we've learned this week that Danny Masterson's attorneys, the Judge Almeida in the Danny Masterson case, is possibly seeking sanctions against Danny Masterson's attorneys for sending investigators to the homes of the jurors, even though she sealed all of the juror identifying information in the case and has not unsealed it. The LA Times did a story about this earlier this week. I've already done a video about that. At the time that the LA Times wrote their story, and at the time that Judge Almeida issued a ruling that no one else was to attempt to try to contact, no one else from the defense team was to try and contact any of these jurors directly, and they were only to do it by going through the clerk of the court. The court was only aware, to the best of my knowledge, of 3 jurors with whom contact had been attempted. And now, although it's against the rules at this point for anyone on the defense team to be trying to contact the jurors directly, the jurors are allowed to talk to whoever they want to about this case. And fortunately, I have been in touch with some of them. And in those conversations, I have now obtained copies of some of the video evidence of the investigator contacting jurors at their homes, which has now allowed us to identify the investigator. And this gets very, very interesting, you guys. It's an investigator by the name of Lynda Larsen. But before we get into her website and her profiles and all that stuff, let's just watch a little video. Let's see how this goes. Now, I've bleeped out the name of the juror in this video. And also, one thing that's weird about this Ring video camera video is that the audio tracks seem to be a bit off on the timing. You'll notice what I mean. In the video, it seems like they're talking over each other. I suspect in real life they were not talking over each other, but that there's some sort of a delay on the recording. You'll see. Take a look at this.
How can I help you? Who is it? Lynda Larsen. Lynda Larsen.
Okay, I'm gonna help out. She says Lynda Larsen, and the juror says, "What do you need, Lynda Larsen?"
Lynda Larsen. Lynda Larsen.
Oh, I was here to talk about the Masterson
Okay, I'm not
case.
interested.
Masterson
Okay, I'm not
case.
interested.
So she says, "Okay, I'm not interested," but it's a little hard to hear because she's talking over her. I'll do it again.
To talk about the Masterson
Okay, I'm not
case.
interested. I'm not interested.
I'm sorry?
Are the words "I'm not interested" so hard to understand? It's like it's the one thing she couldn't hear.
I'm not
I couldn't hear you.
interested.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
She says, "I'm not interested in discussing the Masterson case." I'll play it again.
I'm not
I couldn't hear you.
interested.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, simple enough. Now, I wanted to point out, At no point did Lynda Larsen identify for whom she was there for, which is part of what she's supposed to do. Also, at no point did she say, you don't have to talk to me. Now, someone could argue, well, she would have said that later on if the juror had expressed a desire to cooperate. And I go, well, actually, I think divulging who you're there for and that the person isn't required to communicate with you is what you would be required to divulge before cooperation is indicated, since the jurors' confusion about that could lead them to agree to have a conversation they think they have to have. So anyway, I'm sure it could be argued though that, well, that would have come later. That would have come later. The video of the house visit that I'm showing you right now is not one of the house visits that the judge is already aware of. And there's this is just a screenshot. This is not a video, but there she is. The one and only Lynda Larsen, who is working for, at least according to what has been claimed to the LA Times, which attorney? Eric Mulfop. So Danny Masterson has two attorneys right now that are different than the two attorneys that he had for his trial. For his trial, he had Shawn Holley and Philip Cohen. Now, Shawn Holley and Philip Cohen stayed on the team even during the appeal process for a while. They only left a couple months ago. The two new attorneys are Eric Mulfop and Cliff Gardner. Now, if those names happen to ring a bell to you, that is because Eric Mulfop was one of Brock Turner's lawyers, particularly for his appeal. And if Cliff Gardner rings a bell, it's because Cliff Gardner is the attorney for the Menendez brothers, which is huge in the headlines right now. I mean, Cliff Gardner, he means business. He's the one that actually has gotten the Menendez brothers to the point where the district attorney has agreed to resentence them. So these are attorneys who very, very much know what they are doing. Shawn Holley is also an attorney who very much knows what she's doing. By the way, Shawn Holley currently representing Diddy. I just love when these connections between Danny Masterson and Scientology and Diddy constantly pop up. It's one of my favorite things, actually. Okay, so here we have, I just wanted to show one more time. There she is. There is Lynda Larsen. Now you might go, okay, well, here's why I think it's funny that we have her name. She has very clearly attempted to scrub photos of herself from the internet, which would make sense considering she is a private investigator who specializes in doing covert investigations. This is according to her own website, which is right here, Larsen AVR Group. And when we go here to the about section, let's see what she has to say. Former investigative reporter whose private investigations career spans over 2 decades. Okay, gonna skip some of this. Since becoming a private investigator, she has had extensive involvement in tobacco and water contamination and other environmental litigation. She managed multi-district pharmaceutical litigation support for manufacturers and supervised the litigation support relating to the nationwide defense for tobacco product liability claims against processors of one of America's largest cash crop. Okay. Lynda Larsen is frequently called upon to lend her extensive investigative talents to many and varied criminal defense efforts, as well as post-conviction jury interviews. Okay, and then when you go down here, full-service private investigations firm that has expertise in the following areas: post-conviction jury interviews. Okay, very interesting. I want to direct your attention to a section of the LA Times article earlier this week where Shawn Holley had admitted to personally contacting at least 3 jurors in the months after Danny's conviction about a year ago. Shawn Holley said she'd done nothing wrong and is no longer directly involved in Masterson's case. Okay, I'm jumping back and forth a little bit here between my screenshots. This is the docket of the Danny Masterson appeal case, the People versus Danny Masterson. It's got a different case number for the appeal than it does for the actual case itself. And when we jump down here to August, here we go, August 21st, Cliff Gardner, counsel for appellant regarding removing trial counsel from party screen. So August 21st is when Shawn Holley and Philip Cohen were officially removed from the case. Okay, let's go back to the LA Times. Okay, so Holley said she'd done nothing wrong and is no longer directly involved in Danny Masterson's case. Cliff Gardner and Philip Cohen, who also said he is no longer engaged in the case, said that they had not contacted any jurors. And okay, so then Eric Multhop jumps in and says one of his investigators, who we now know as Lynda Larsen, approached a juror at their home on September 15th and comported herself in complete compliance with the California Code of Civil Procedure. That is so interesting that the attorney is saying his investigator only visited the house of one juror. I can say without any shadow of a doubt, no less than 5 jurors have been visited at their homes by an investigator. Remember, these jurors thought that their identities and their addresses were completely confidential. Could you imagine the surprise when an investigator working for a guy you helped put away put into prison, send away to prison for 2 consecutive life sentences, is knocking on your door uninvited and unannounced? Incredible. I feel like the judge is going to be a little pissed off that this has happened a lot more than she thought it did. Okay, let's see. There was something else I was looking for here. Multhop said his investigator simply located the juror through routine search and contacted them prior to the term of Almeido's order taking effect on September 7th. Okay, so Shawn Holley, this is how she explains her previous contact with jurors after the conviction. She says, I made it clear to all 3 jurors with whom I spoke and ultimately met that they were under no obligation to speak with me or to meet with me, and they all were more than willing to do so. I met all 3 of them separately at times and places which were convenient for them, and I was cordial and respectful of their time and boundaries. I feel confident that none of the 3 jurors with whom I spoke and met reported our interaction to Judge Almeida as harassing or improper. And it's true. None of the jurors have accused, that I'm aware of, Shawn Holley of being harassing or improper. It is simply the fact that despite their identities and the information revealed in their juror selection forms being sealed by the judge, and despite it being made perfectly clear why the identities were being sealed, that Shawn Holley and her team, because remember, Eric Multhop might be taking ownership or credit or blame for this investigator, but the truth is all 4 attorneys had been on the case this entire time up until August 11th. And you know, when we have Shawn Holley basically acting like, what, I would never do anything to act inappropriately or to make anyone uncomfortable, I cannot help but be reminded by what Shawn Holley did to more than one of Danny Masterson's victims when she first came onto the case, intentionally violating the protections that exist under Marcy's law for Jane Does and victims of sexual assault cases. So in the preliminary hearing section of the preliminary hearing, the preliminary hearing portion of this of the entire Danny Masterson trial, his previous attorneys were Thomas Mesereau and Sharon Applebaum. Now, Thomas Mesereau and Sharon Applebaum had asked the judge, what are the proper procedures that we should follow to serve the Jane Does with various subpoenas? Because the normal procedure would require us to give the Jane Does names, real names, and addresses to a process server. And we don't want to do that if that's going to break the law or break the rules in this case. The correct procedure was established that they would simply serve the Jane Does or their attorneys in court at a hearing so that their privacy and their identities would not have to be violated. That is exactly what occurred then. This particular subpoena was shut down completely and denied by Judge Almeida, although the procedure was established. Shawn Holley gets added to the case. She decides to serve the exact same subpoena that had already been denied by the judge, and to do it by sending her own process servers to the homes of more than one of Danny Masterson's victims. And then this all blew up, and there was hearings covering why this was done. And of course, Shawn Holley just over and over and over again is constantly saying, oh my God, I would never, Your Honor, my pearls, I would never do such a thing. So to have this blowing up again, a similar situation blowing up again, whereas this time it's not Danny Masterson's victims that are being harassed by Shawn Holley and or her agents. It is now Danny Masterson's jurors. And I'm sure Shawn Holley is going to continue to try and distance herself from all of this. But the judge has already warned the attorneys that she's considering sanctions against them for this. So of course, Shawn, by the way, it wouldn't be the first time Danny Masterson's attorneys have been sanctioned by the judge. The first attorneys, Tom Mesereau and Sharon Applebaum, were fined by the judge for illegally sharing discovery information with Scientology's attorneys. It's funny that we mentioned Sharon Applebaum, because I'm going to directly tie, I am going to directly tie Lynda Larsen to Sharon Applebaum in a moment. But it is amazing how so many of these dots connect. Okay, so I showed you that. Here's an interesting search result that you used to get on the internet when you searched for Lynda Larsen. I say used to because Lynda has very clearly done something to scrub photos of herself from the internet. You cannot find these search results now. I would challenge you to do so. The top photo is from an event, Women's White Collar Defense Association. White Collar Defense Association. Okay. And then this is a photo with Lynda. And I guess a client that she was working for, another successful completion of mental health diversion. I am still undefeated. My understanding, if I have it correct, is that's when you get someone, instead of being sentenced to jail or prison or whatever, you get them off on the grounds of some sort of mental health issue. And so they get mental health treatment instead of jail or prison. So I guess that's something Lynda does. I challenge anyone to try to find that photo in a search result right now. You'll notice that photo where the guy's got a smiley face over his face, that is from a LinkedIn post, which means Lynda herself posted that to LinkedIn. Well, when you go to Lynda's LinkedIn post now, or LinkedIn profile now, no photographs. And let's see, if you go to more, and okay, how did I find this before? How did I find this? Is it show all comments? Okay, yeah. So here you have Lynda Larsen actually commenting just a month ago on a post from Sharon Applebaum, one of Danny Masterson's previous attorneys, who was sanctioned or fined for illegally sharing discovery material with Scientology's attorneys. Sharon has been selected as a nominee for the LA Times Inspirational Women Leadership Awards. And you have Lynda just saying, congrats, Sharon. I guess she's congratulating on her nomination and not on getting busted for illegally sharing case product with Scientology. And somewhere here, posts. When you go to posts, I guess Lynda decided that it wasn't smart for her to be posting stuff to LinkedIn as if it was Facebook, if she's like some super secret, undercover, covert investigator. Maybe best to keep a low profile online. Okay, let me see. Was there anything else? Oh, there was the Diddy video, but I don't think I'm going to share that because it's not like directly relevant. Yeah. So there you go, guys. There you go. Lynda Larsen is the investigator that has been showing up to Danny Masterson jurors' homes. I don't know if the private investigator herself can be fined or sanctioned, or if only the attorneys she's working for. It sounds like Eric Molthop is prepared to take the fall for what Lynda Larsen has done, but I would argue that there's plenty of connections here to Shawn Holley herself. And I just think it just happens to be just a gift that there's also connections between Lynda Larsen and Sharon Applebaum, the attorney that this exact judge has already fined in this exact case. It's just too perfect. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, let's look at some starred comments here, and then we'll wrap this one up. Miss Kim, if the homeowner was on their phone at a different location, it might be delayed. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Miss Kim. Gene P, I remember during the Danny Masterson trial, the main witnesses were followed to their car. Yep. Elsa Williams, are these the same? Are these the same? I think you mean investigators looking into Diddy. Those were dudes, but could they be working together? Oh my God. So I know that Sloan, the YouTuber Sloan, did a video about investigators showing up to the homes of some influencers who were doing videos about Diddy and asking those influencers if they were being paid to do those videos. And if so, the investigator's client would be willing to pay them for information on who had been paying them to do videos. You're right. The investigators in that video you're referring to were men, but considering Shawn Holley is the lawyer working for Diddy, and considering we have a pretty, I think we've pretty well established that Lynda Larsen is an investigator that works that works with Shawn Holley, it does make me wonder whether those investigators could be employed by Lynda Larsen. Lynda Larsen's website does make it clear that she has many investigators working for her as well. Good question. Pink Sky says, I cannot see how this isn't illegal. Yeah. Daniel Day, it should be illegal. They won't change their minds because she felt entitled to bother them. Well, yeah. And also, like, a juror can't change their mind. You know, once a verdict is handed down, the verdict is handed down. Ren listens, sealed identity records are to protect the juror from this exact thing. Talk about intimidating. If this was a murder trial, if this was a murder trial, yeah, shit would hit the fan. Yeah, absolutely. Michael C, that might be the tiniest earbud I've ever seen in your ear. Anybody know that brand? One more Comfort Bud minis. Guys, you know me, I only use Raycons. Raycon is a sponsor of this channel. And I will, for the replay crew, drop a link. I'll put I'll pin a comment for the link you can use to get up to 30 to 50% off Raycons. They're running Black Friday specials, guys. Black Friday's coming up. So thank you for asking, Michael. I appreciate it. Paul Candeloro says, I believe Aaron did a video a day or two ago about them following jurors out to their cars to get license plate numbers to look them up and find their addresses. That's what Scientology does. Now, of course, that's what any private investigator would probably do as well. But Scientology would have already been doing that. Absolutely. Violet Persuasion, WTF, post-conviction jury interviews. Aren't most juries sealed afterwards to prevent that kind of stalking? I don't believe most juror information is sealed, but I can't say for sure. Gene P, Men in Black are knocking on content creators' doors, reporting on Diddy, asking who is paying them to report the story. What the hell? Yeah, I saw that earlier today. Marcy Pokes, M. Pocus, I worked in civil court in Dallas for over 30 years as a court reporter. Judge would not have been happy. Big trouble. Yep. Sue Irwin, bloody hell, people. Hit that like button. Thank you very much, Sue. Lydia Von Stretchclaw, but Your Honor, my pearls. Carrie J, defense attorneys acting improperly. Color me shocked. Good to see you, Carrie. Karen McCourt, Aaron, I know you like to wear black. However, you look marvelous in blue. Thank you very much, Karen. I appreciate it. Lean on me, Aaron. Just wait until tomorrow's Diddy hearing. Seems his defense lied to the judge. Shawn Holley lying to the judge? I don't believe it. Julia O'Connell, she should be in jail. Stasia Flonase, Rabbit, and BJ are doing a great job exposing the shit going on with the Diddy fiasco. Yeah. And Marilyn, Coffee Cults and Crafts. Aaron, don't forget the giveaway. Oh my God, I'm so glad you told me because I would have totally forgotten. Okay, guys, for those of you who've stuck around until the end of this video, this is a iPhone 15 Pro Max. It says Kevlar. What was that? They used to use a different word for this. Anyway, just so you guys get a good look at it. Yep. So I'm going to randomly pick some, burn up that live chat, guys. We got about 900 people watching right now. First of all, hit that like button, guys. Just smash it right now. It's fast. It's easy. It's free. Hit the like button. Honestly, you can literally say anything in the live chat. It doesn't even have to be legible. Just pound away on your keyboard, hit enter, do it over and over and over. I'm going to randomly wait like 10 or 15 seconds. And then I'm just going to click on someone, you guys. I'm just going to do it while we're waiting. Anna from Canada, thank you for being a channel member for 8 months. Much appreciated. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. And click. Link X is the winner. Link X, shoot me an email at growingupinscientology@gmail.com and I'll get your address and I'll send this off to you. I mean, these are not cheap, you guys. You can look these up and see how much these sell for, but I got a whole bunch of Ridge product. I was saving these because I thought I was going to upgrade to the 15. I'd been using the 13 Pro Max forever, but when I upgraded, I just upgraded to the 16 instead. And of course, 15 Pro Max doesn't fit the 16 Pro Max, of course. All right, guys, that's all we got for right now. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe